What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got some disturbing news that China is funneling and funding America's public schools. You can see here, China is funding America's public schools. Communist nation has channeled $17 million now more into 143 kindergarten through grade 12 districts, sparking GOP probe. The money is funneled through Confucius Institutes and other cultural and language programs. Congress Representative Jim Banks is demanding the Education Department take action with urgency. And get this, the Chinese Communist Party is targeting schools close to military bases. Close to military bases. This comes as multiple times here within the last several weeks, we've had major breaches of hacking from China. You can see here, Microsoft says Chinese hackers breached emails including US government agencies. This was on a large scale. You can also see here from the New York Times, hacking of government email was traditional espionage. The hackers penetrated the accounts of senior State Department officials, including the US ambassador to China. You can also see here, officials found suspected Chinese malware hidden in various US military systems. Its intended use is disruption rather than surveillance, a disturbing change in intent, experts say. So notice here what they're doing with US military systems. And then come back around here to the story here that China is funding America's public schools, and they're targeting schools close to military bases. And also, this is only the schools that we've learned about that have been reported. Who knows how deep this goes and what funding has actually come in through various different channels that hasn't been reported yet. Think about that for a moment. Yeah, the New York Times is reporting here now, US officials found several suspected Chinese malware across several military systems. And unlike previous attacks, experts say the intent is more likely to disrupt rather than to surveil, the New York Times reports. The attacks first came into the public eye in May after the Microsoft identified malicious code in telecommunications software in Guam, where the U.S. houses the Andersen Air Force Base. U.S. officials told the Times that investigations into Chinese malware had been underway for several months and that the malicious code had infiltrated U.S. military systems across the country and abroad. So just think about this. They had infiltrated U.S. military systems across the country and abroad. That's about as serious as it gets. This is cyber warfare. Previous cyber attacks typically aim to surveil U.S. operations, but this is even worse. China is steadfast and determined to penetrate our governments, our companies, and our critical infrastructure. The Deputy Director of National Security Agency, George Barnes, said at the Intelligence and National Security Summit earlier this month. Now, experts say this new wave of malicious code has the ability to disrupt U.S. military and civilian operations. So just think about that. Last month, Rob Joyce, the director of cybersecurity at the NSA, called the nature of this malware really disturbing. The Times reported that it could allow China to, get this, cut off power, water, and communications to military bases. And it could also affect personal homes and businesses across the country. If that's not a serious warning, that's about as serious as it gets. This could allow China to cut off power, water, and communications to military bases and also affect personal homes and businesses across the country. And this is only what we actually know about. Remember that all these systems, all these computer systems, were infected first, and then sometime later, we found out about it. And you also got to wonder, how many systems do we not know about? How many computers are out there that are maybe still infected and haven't been, de-infected? So, and the other thing is these are just like, think about this one particular malware or this one particular virus that they caught. How many other viruses or malware are out there? And this is just absolutely just a nightmare, a nightmare. Now, don't get me wrong, the US probably also does this, but this is basically like the new age of cyber warfare. What's particularly scary about this is that if we were to get into a heightened state of war, which, don't get me wrong, where it seems like we're increasingly getting closer and closer to. I mean, if you just seen my new video here, um, with Russia and North Korea threatening us to the point of nuclear war. I will link you to that video where they're saying that nuclear war is no other choice. Um, the first thing that they would do is try to do something like this: cut off power, water, and security systems to our military bases and even potential homes around the areas, or any type of thing like that. If they can cut the power off and the security systems off, imagine what that would do. It would basically send a lot of our systems, a lot of our military back to the Stone Age. Now, get this: this is the military already knows about this because this has been reported out into the open here. So, uh, this is an absolute nightmare. I don't even, I can't even just grasp my brain about how much of a nightmare this is. And the government didn't even keep this a secret. Maybe because Microsoft was involved and other companies were involved with this, and it was just that huge of an issue. Think about all the other issues that have been kept top secret that we don't even know about. Yeah, if you've ever heard, government government problems, or even maybe government conspiracy theories, imagine how many problems are out there that the government doesn't tell us about. Yeah, there'd probably be so many problems out there that we wouldn't even be able to sleep at night. Yeah. So this just, and honestly, you can even kind of link this to the war of what's going over with Ukraine, and how China is like looming over, watching very closely to see what happens there. Because we all know China's even said that they want Taiwan. They consider Taiwan part of China, the one China policy. And they almost will do whatever it takes to bring them in. And what happens over there with Ukraine will be a massive message to China. If Russia is able to just take Ukraine and just say, hey, 40 million people, we're going to take it over. This is now, we're just claiming this land. China's just going to do the same. If the world steps in and say, no, you can't just take over other countries, you can't just take over these people, you can't just go in and decimate other people, drop bombs, drop missiles, go in and shut off their power, all these things to other people, like they're doing now, but they're putting up a fight. All these other countries, US, NATO, all these other countries, all of Europe, that is basically saying, no, we're not going to allow you to do this. As opposed to if he just did it like he did with Crimea back in 2014, like Hitler actually did as well, where he took over country after country after country. And, Europe had to start fighting back. But you think about, Hitler actually took over a large portion of Europe. And eventually, Hitler's downfall happened, but obviously that's a much longer story to cover there. But at some point, you got to be like, do we want to allow dictators to just go in and take over other countries, millions of people? Ukraine had 45 million people before Putin, I almost said Hitler, before Putin went in there. 5 million people fled, mostly women and children. 5 million people had to literally leave their homes and just leave them. Boom, gone. Their whole home, whatever they had there, they just had to leave their homes. It's just whatever they had. Maybe they owned the home. It's just gone. They just had to go and just abandon their home. Imagine just that alone. Okay. Imagine if you're home there, you own the home, no matter what kind of home it is. Imagine you own the home and you're like, all right, we have to leave because somebody is coming to bomb us, and we have to just leave it right now, even though we've been paying on it for years or whatever's in the home. We can only take what we can carry on our back. We have to leave that home now because somebody's coming to bomb us and invade us. We have to leave. Imagine just the strife and the tragedy of that, and just doing that, and then having to travel via foot or bus or anything you could. Imagine just having to do that alone. 5 million people approximately had to do that and go to other countries that they've maybe likely never even been to. And now they have to go there and live with probably very little to no money, and then start a new life there, find a job there, and start all over. Yeah. And then now think about Taiwan, potentially maybe thinking about this. The same thing could happen to us. And Taiwan, you look at the map of Taiwan here, it's not exactly going to be as easy for people in Taiwan to exactly flee to another country if that were to happen. Well, because of this big blue ocean here. Can't exactly just run across the ocean. You'd have to take a boat or something along those lines. And then a war type of situation, that's not going to exactly be easy. China could literally just surround this, and then that wouldn't be possible. So, yeah, the world is watching, and this is a lot more complicated than just black and white. And a lot of people, just not really thinking all this through. Let me know your thoughts here on this in the comment section. I'll keep you up to date here with everything happening here on a daily basis that you need to know about. If you haven't yet, click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. Here is thousands of NATO troops moving against Russia. Or here is Russia and North Korea saying that they have no other choice but a nuclear attack. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.